gentlemen, it is my great honour and pleasure to welcome you here this evening to the annual Gala Ball for the Australia-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Miss Gina Liano is best known for her role in The Real Housewives of Melbourne. She is of Australian and Italian heritage and is a very well-acclaimed criminal barrister here in Melbourne. It is our great honour and pleasure to have her here this evening as our Master of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, please make her welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your warm reception there. It's such a pleasure to be here. This is a fantastic occasion. I can see that there's such a warmth in the room and so much enthusiasm. I've had a great opportunity to interview a few of our special guests here tonight, and I think we are going to have a lot of fun. If I can ask you all to be upstanding at this stage for the Australian and Lebanese anthems. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Please be seated. Now, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We do have an outstanding list of honorary guests that I'd like to welcome, and also a very long list of sponsors. So, to begin with, and on behalf of Mr. Fadi Zakoum, Order of Australia President and Chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Australian-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Victoria, I would like to welcome the Honourable Scott Morrison MP, Treasurer of the Commonwealth of Australia, representing the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Malcolm Turnbull MP, the Honourable Philip Ruddock, Patron of the Australian-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Victoria, His Excellency Lex Bartlam, former Australian Ambassador to Lebanon, and the Honourable Stephen Philip Bracks, AC, former Premier of Victoria, Patron of the Australian-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Victoria. We'd also like to welcome and thank the Honourable Barry O'Farrell, former Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable Martin Pakula, MP, Attorney General and Minister for Racing, the Honourable Marlene Carruth, MP, Minister for Consumer Affairs, Gaming and Liquor Regulation, representing the Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Daniel Andrews, MP, the Honourable David Hodgett, Deputy Leader of the Opposition Victoria, Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party of Victoria, Shadow Minister for Public Transport, Shadow Minister for Ports, representing the State Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Matthew Guy, MP, Leader of the Liberal Party of Victoria, Leader of the Opposition, His Excellency Mr. Ghassan Al-Khatib, Consul General of Lebanon to Victoria, His Excellency Dr. Hamad Ali Al-Awai, Consul General of the Sultanate of Oman to Victoria, His Excellency Mr. Saeed Matar Sultan Al-Sidi Akwemzi, Consul General of the United Emirates to Victoria, His Excellency Mr. Anthony John Torbay, Honorary Consul of Lebanon to Queensland. Mr Michael Sakur, MP, Federal Member for Deakin. The Honourable Bruce Atkinson, MP, President of the Legislative Council and Member for Eastern Metropolitan Region. Mr Michael Kroger, Liberal State President in Victoria, Patron of the Australian Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Victoria. The Honourable Inga Pelich, MP, Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs and Shadow Minister for Scrutiny of Government. Mr Nazir Al-Asmar, MP, Member for Northern Metropolitan Region. Mr Khalil Eddy, MP, also Member for Western Metropolitan Region. Mr Cesar Malhem, MP, Member for Western Metropolitan Region. Ms Betty Hindi, Consultant for the Development and Advancement for the Civil Military Corporation of the Lebanese Army and founder of the World House of Lebanon. Mr Lahoud, Director General, Chief of Protocol and Public Relations Department at the Presidency of the Republic of Lebanon. Mr Ziad Al-Hawat, President of the Municipality of Jibay Byblos. Mr Rohini Kabadath, Chairman of the Multicultural Ministerial Business Advisory Council. Mr Joseph Asaf, AM, Founder and Chairman of the Ethnic Business Awards, Patron of the Australian Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Victoria. Mr Joseph Qatar, AM, President of the Australian Lebanon Chamber of Commerce. Mr Rowland Jabu, Chairman of the Australian Chamber of Commerce. Reverend Father Elaine Farris, Parish Priest of Our Lady of Lebanon Maronite Church. Reverend Father Georges Ekuri, Parish Priest of the Antiochian Orthodox Church of St Paul. Reverend Father Hovig Budikian, representing Father Charles Hitty, Superior of the Antonine Monks, and political leaders, media representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. If we could welcome all those special guests. So we have a fantastic room full of amazing achievers. We love that. Thank you all for being here. Now, before I go on, I'd also like to thank all our sponsors. And, you know, what I've discovered in being part of this fantastic evening tonight is just how everybody has embraced what the whole purpose of the Lebanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry is about, and that's calling Australia home and connecting people. And I can see from the list of sponsors that it's just amazing, the support and the fact that everybody, part of the Lebanese community and the Australian community, have really embraced this. So we'd like to thank our partner sponsor, the Bank of Sydney, our platinum sponsors, Zuki Group of Companies, Zuki Lawyers, our gold sponsors, Worldmark Travel, our silver sponsors, CAN Accountants, Kubra, Cedar Meats and Jimba, Signature Commercials and Coffee Co. Our bronze sponsors are Teeth on Wheels, Bandex, Big Dream Homes, Metrics Insurance, Hollier Dixon, Aline Lacal, Easy Mart, Ethan Group, Byblos Lebanese Restaurant, Hair House Warehouse, Red Design, ACJ Centres, Jason Real Estate, CK Architects, Bluestone, KNS Funerals, Lombards, Oasis Bakery, Easy Industries, PE Capital, PGR Furniture, Help Desk Computers, Vectron, Zagami, Mark Zrika, Amachi Architects, Forever I Do Event Planning, and Diane, our makeup artist. So if we could just thank all those sponsors. Now, the ALCCI was launched in 2011 through much dedication empowering commitment, hard work, in particular of our directors, and the continued and loyal support of our sponsors and members. This year is a true testament of that. The ALCCI looks forward to working with you during the year to achieve our common goal of enhancing further the excellent relationship between Australia and Lebanon, and in particular boosting the commercial and cultural link, which are so important to our future prosperity and security. The ALCCI is made up of leaders of business and community professionals, tradespeople, passionate people and visionaries, charged with the responsibility of enhancing trade links and providing a networking platform for forward-thinking entrepreneurs. We are currently working hard to develop solid relationships with many communities that make up the wider Australian business community in order to maximise the benefit of two-way opportunities in trade, tourism and investment at both a local and a national level for Australia and for Lebanon. I'd like to introduce the Honourable Martin Pakula. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina, and what a wonderful evening, what an amazing crowd we have here tonight, and what a credit this is, not just to the Lebanese community here in Melbourne, but to the ALCCI. I have a very simple task tonight, which is simply to, on behalf of the Government of Victoria, welcome you all here tonight. My name's Martin Pakula. I'm the Victorian Attorney General and Minister for Racing. And I certainly don't think I need to individually welcome all of the honoured guests once again. Gina has filled that task for all of you expertly already tonight, but I think it is a measure of the esteem in which the ALCCI and the Lebanese community in Melbourne is held, that in the audience tonight we have current federal ministers, former federal ministers. We have current state ministers and former state ministers. We have a former Premier of Victoria and a former Premier of New South Wales. We have ambassadors, we have consuls general. We have a bevy of VIPs, all here to recognise the extraordinary work that the Australia-Lebanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry does for our community and for our economy. And the fact that the ALCCI has chosen to honour the state of Victoria and the city of Melbourne by having this gala dinner here tonight is something that the Victorian government is extremely grateful for, and it is something that we do not take for granted. The contribution of the Lebanese community to our state's cultural life, but as demonstrated by this dinner, to our state and our city's economic life and economic development is something that we are truly grateful for and that we never overlook as a state. And it's why we're represented so well here tonight with ministers and other parliamentarians, the President of the Legislative Council, and as I said, so many other honoured and distinguished guests. I want to conclude by saying that you are in for a great night of entertainment, wonderful speeches. I understand the Federal Treasurer is going to speak tonight. But I also want to pay particular mention to Fadi Zuki, without whom none of this would be possible. Fadi's contribution to your community, to the law, to hospitality, and to the life of this city is unparalleled. And it's why the Lebanese community in this city and in this state, he is one of the key reasons why it is so well regarded and held in such high esteem. So Fadi, I want to thank you for all that you have done and congratulate you for the work of the ALCCI, but also for putting on such a remarkable night tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I am sorry that I can't share all of it with you. My other portfolio responsibilities beckon. But I'm sure that in my absence you will have a wonderful time. Congratulations on everything you've done, and I will hand you back to Gina. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I think I may have missed a sponsor, one of our gold sponsors, who is Avada. So my apologies if that is the case. But thank you so much. Now, to start off the evening, we are going to have a theme song that was actually co-produced by Fatty Zuki and Kylie Fisher. And the song is actually called This Is Home. So I'd like to introduce Fatty Zuki. Oh, I beg your pardon. I think I've jumped the gun here, but it's Kylie Fisher. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am so honoured to be standing here tonight. I was asked by my mentor, Fatty Zuki, to write a song embracing Lebanese culture in Australia. I never knew that my lyrics would have so much meaning in his life and his personal story. Moving from Lebanon as a young boy, and he found refuge here in Australia. And I know that there would be many more here tonight whose stories would be very familiar. I've always embraced different cultures, and I heard how many people come here to Australia for a new beginning and a hope for the future. I believe that Australia has become a diverse and strong country because of different cultures. So I hope you feel the heartbeat of my song, This Is Home. Oceans we moved far and wide. We didn't want to leave the village we call home, but for a better future for generations on and on, we headed for Australia and believed for good things to come. We remember our culture, don't forget where you're from. Village to village, the place we call home. As a family together, we are strong. Now this is the place we call home, Australia. We followed in their footsteps and dug our feet into the ground, never forgetting who we are, remembering the stories passed down from old to young. Lebanon is my culture, but today this is my home. We remember our culture, don't forget where you're from. Village to village, the place we call home. As a family together, we are strong. Now this is the place we call home, Australia. We were torn apart, leaving everything behind, not knowing what's to come, running for our lives one by one. We are strong, we hold on to Lebanon. We remember our culture, don't forget where you're from. Village to village, the place we call home. And as a family together, we are strong. Now this is the place we call home. We remember our culture, don't forget where you're from. Village to village, the place we call home. As a family together, we are strong. Australia, Australia, this is home. And this is the place we call home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a divine song. That gave me goosebumps. Anybody else in here get goosebumps from that? No, I don't think it's the air conditioning somehow. But that was absolutely gorgeous. I loved that. And as I mentioned before, that song was actually co-produced by Fatty Zuki, who is the president of the ALCCI. And I did try to invite him up on stage a little bit early, so I hope you're enjoying just sitting down there for a bit longer, but I am going to invite you up now. And that is Mr. Fatty Zuki, Order of Australia. And I'll just give you a quick rundown. I'm guessing most of you know who he is. This whole event tonight centres around this fantastic man who has given so much to the Lebanese community with establishing the ALCCI. He has built his business profile as an executive director of the Zuki Group and managing director of Zuki for Lebanon Sal. He has pursued his goals of enriching the lives of others and giving back to both the country that provides his family with refuge from the Lebanese civil war and the homeland for which his love will never wane. Prior to taking on the responsibilities of founding president of the Australian Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Fatty was asked to represent the United Nations Development Programme's Live Lebanon project as its Australian ambassador. This honour follows many years of philanthropic work and the chairing of several charitable committees and community groups. Fatty has dedicated more than a decade to the role of assistant lecturer at Monash University and community advisor with SBS, and is helping many members of the community as a mentor to young entrepreneurs, an Australian lawyer and a migration lawyer. On top of his many career accomplishments, as a personal challenge, Fatty has also completed a master's degree in law and achieved the status of a commercial pilot. Where did you get the time? That's my question. Numerous awards in recognition of Fatty's work within the public health sector have also been awarded to him. The words in the song that you've just heard, co-produced by Mr. Zuki, in the words of Mr. Zuki, encapsulates what it is to be Australian Lebanese, including the hardships faced by displacement through the war. Please give a warm round of applause to Mr. Zuki.
Thank you, Gina. This is home. Home, a place your feet may leave, but your heart will always be. We, the ALCCI, acknowledge that we stand on the land for which the Wangiri people are the traditional custodians. We remember their forebears with respect and commit ourselves to working for reconciliation and justice. Good evening. The Honourable Scott Morrison, MP, His Excellency Lex Bartlam, the Honourable Steve Bracks, AC, the Honourable Barry O'Farrell, the Honourable Marlene K. Roos, and here, if I may say, Marlene is the first female Australian Minister of Lebanese background. She deserves an applause. We all celebrating this achievement with you, Marlene. The Honourable David Hodgett, His Excellency Mr. Ghassan Al-Khatib, Your Excellencies, Reverend Fathers, honored and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with deep sense of pride, gratitude and humility that I stand here before you celebrating our 5th annual Gala Ball. This year, however, has touched my heart in such a profound way as our theme, This is Home, is indicative of not only mine, but so many others living in this abundant nation's migrant story. Our theme signifies to us the plethora of opportunities this vast and resourceful land has and will continue to provide us. Though while I now and always will continue to call Australia home, my ancestor home Lebanon will forever be reserved a place in my heart. Having offered a safe haven for my family at the height of the Civil War and embraced us as part of the Australian family from the very start, this country has earned my undying loyalty. And no matter where my travel takes me, this is the place to which I will always long to return. To this end, I must continue to thank Australia and its successive governments for welcoming all with such open hearts and giving us the opportunity to call Australia home. Further, it is notable that the foundations of this country and its constructs of its constitution were forged with the interest of the life, liberty, and security of persons, each of its civilians at the forefront of its aim. Australia, we chose you because of your values. Upon commencement of writing this speech, I found myself, amusingly enough, confronted with the question, what is home to me? Home is so incomprehensibly indeterminate. Home is tangible, yet it's not tangible. Home is four walls and a roof. Home is where I was raised, where I played, laughed, cried, and learned. It is where I grew, where I became me. For this reason, I strongly believe that a home is more than four walls and a roof over my head. Home is an environment. It is the feeling that greets me. My home is my rock, solid foundation that I will take with me wherever I may go. I believe that home is where individuals become themselves, not primarily physically, but mentally. It becomes a mold that forms who they are. Home for me is made of experiences, moments of my life that help to change me and to teach me. My home is also people, and when home takes on a human form, it is called family and friends. Home is also peace, safety, and security. Home is living in harmony with one another. Home is irrefutably my homeland, the Phoenician blood that pulses through my veins, a love and passion that will always continue to be striving focus in my life. Lebanon is a piece of fabric that has and will always be so instinctively woven in the framework that makes me who I am. My passion for my homeland was one of the driving factors that pressed me to form this chamber itself with others. The chamber emulates and signifies the coming together of both our homelands, Australia and Lebanon. It further demonstrates how both our cultures and both our homes can be linked. This, however, is a charge that we must all take upon ourselves. We must imprint upon future generations the importance of harmonization between both of the cultures that we are blessed to call home. By looking at the war-torn countries so many of us immigrated from, the idea of stability and security is an indicative factor of being at home and being at peace. Australia has provided not only a stable and safe life, but it is the land of chances with the golden soils and wealth for toils. It is the land abounds in nature's gifts and beauty rich and rare. Australia allows you to not only dream, but to live your dreams. Once upon a time, a wide-eyed young man, I proudly say I was able to achieve my dreams, but only because of this land I am so proud to call home, affording me and many others the opportunities to do so. Regretfully, Minister Basile had to cancel his visit to Australia at a late notice due to some political changes in Lebanon. We hope it's for the best. I would like to offer now a special welcome and thanks to the people who just came from Lebanon, a close friends of mine, Lahoud Lahoud, the Director General of the Presidential Palace of Lebanon and the Chief of Protocol. I'm so glad to see him sitting for a change. Normally he'll be running around the room. And also I would like to welcome the lovely Betty Hindi, the founder of the World House of Lebanon and consultant to the Lebanese Army on the development of advancement of civil-military cooperation, an amazing lady, a woman of substance. And probably one of the most famous Lord Mayors of Lebanon and one of the youngest, Mr. Ziad Al-Hawat. He is the Lord Mayor of Jbeil. And of course, our special guest entertainer is Lebanon celebrated singer and actress Carol Samaha. Today she will actually fire up the room. I would like to take this opportunity to thank her and thank her manager Mario Osta. And of course, a very special artist from Lebanon also, Kivork Kacharian. And last but not least, also we have Kylie Fisher, who did an amazing job in singing this emotional song. And to come as well, there is Nisia Dallas. Having you all here is such a great honor. Thank you for traveling to support our chamber and its aim to enhance the bilateral relationship between Australia, Lebanon, and the Lebanese diaspora. The same can be said for our beloved patrons, the Honourable Steve Bracks, Sir Michael Kroger, Mr. Joseph Assaf AM, and the Honourable Philip Roddock, and Anwar Harb. And thank you also for being here with us this evening. On a celebratory evening like tonight, I'm also overwhelmed with the pride and acknowledge the vast and highly acclaimed achievements of the ALCCI to date. Some of them include, but not limited to, the significant historical visit of the President of Lebanon, where the Chamber played a significant role in that. The almost 4 to 5 trade missions to Lebanon, which encompassed over 200 companies, continuous seminars, and recently we have the launch of the Women Business Group and the Young Entrepreneurs, which is something I'm very proud of. And also, on this note, we have to thank our ambassador in Lebanon, His Excellency Glenn Miles, who has shown immense support to our functionality in Lebanon. We most defiantly aim to deliver an entertaining evening with our dazzling MC, Ms. Gina Liano, and singers Carol Samaha, and we mentioned earlier Nisia Dallas and Kylie Fisher, who will be performing a single, This Is Home, which we already heard. It's truly touching for me to see how all here this evening, as we view our attendance here tonight as a show of support for the underlying vision of the Chamber, bringing Australian and Lebanese business people together to create a relationship that transcended the division of religion and politics and to thereby effect a change via economic stimulation. In closing, I would like to thank all our sponsors for assisting us in making this evening possible. I would also like to thank the worldly acclaimed fashion designer, Mr. Alain Lecal, and Andrew Sugarman, the Sofitel Hotel, Rachel Rigby, Giorgio Alzain, Daniel, and Jerome Zuki. From the media from Sydney, Anwar Hab, we mentioned them earlier, Sayed, and I hope I didn't forget anybody else. I would like to also thank the Board of Directors of the ALCCI and all the organizing committee, in particular, Bernadette Khoury, Salim Khoury, Mirai Zuki, Paul Abdallah, Greta Rad, Mona Estenson, and I hope I didn't forget anyone. And without them, this night would have not been possible. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I charge you with this mission. Embrace what is home to you. Accept the opportunity that you are so blessed to have in this homeland. And remember that home is a place that your feet may leave, but your heart will always be. And sorry, I won't bore you, but tonight also a special night. We are very proud to be also supporting Monash Children's Hospital. As a director on the board of that the foundation, I welcome you all later on to look at the Monash Children's Hospital, how much it has contributed to our community, and please try to support this cause.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zuki. That was fantastic. A round of applause. Now, I'd like to introduce the Australian Federal Treasurer, the Honourable Scott Morrison, to come up and speak and to present the Young Business Entrepreneurs Award.
Well, thank you very much, Gina. My wife's a huge fan. I travel a lot, and when I'm away, I come back and the IQ has about 20 episodes of Melbourne Housewives on it, and so I feel like I already know you. It's tremendous to be here with Fadi and Morel, and it's also with some great colleagues and friends. It's wonderful to be back here in Melbourne with you all as a great friend of Lebanon. Can I particularly acknowledge the patron, the former Premier Steve Bracks. I won't go through all the list because it's been well acknowledged, but can I acknowledge, though, my good friends Barry O'Farrell, a fellow New South Welshman, and Philip Ruddock, the former father of the house, and there is no greater friend of Lebanon in Australia than Philip Ruddock, which you all know. But could I also acknowledge someone who I think will be the next Lebanese National Minister in Australia, and that's Michael Sukkar, who is here tonight. He's doing a tremendous job as the chair of the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, and he's a good mate. And he does a great job, and it was wonderful to see him re-elected in the seat of Deakin. But tonight, it's really for me just to say thank you once again for the tremendous contribution that the Lebanese community in Australia makes. It is a contribution that has been made for over 150 years. And it's a community that it's always understood that great notion of immigration to Australia, that is, it's an opportunity to come and make a contribution rather than take a contribution. And I think there is no ethnic community in Australia that better represents that maxim than the Lebanese community here in Australia. Because it is important at this time, because there are those who would question the success of our multi-ethnic, multicultural society here in Australia. There would be those who would question the value of positive merit-based immigration to Australia, of free trade, and of engaging in foreign investment and attracting foreign investment in Australia, which has been central to our prosperity as a country for centuries, of which the Lebanese community here in Australia has not just been a supporter but a keen participant in. And the Chamber is a champion of all of these issues under Fadi's tremendous leadership. And I want to thank Fadi for that leadership, for the constant engagement, which is bringing Australia and Lebanon closely together. But not only that, is constantly a champion of the idea that an open economy, an economy that engages with the rest of the world, that understands the benefits that can be achieved from all of those things, is something that Australia values and Lebanon values. And when we move towards growing our own economy, there is nothing more important than our young entrepreneurs. And how many of those young entrepreneurs have come from Lebanese nationality here in Australia? I can't think of the scale of what that contribution has been over such a long time. And in a few weeks' time, the Ethnic Business Awards will be held here in Melbourne with Joseph Asaf, as always, and it will acknowledge all of those great leaders in business that have come from so many different backgrounds, and it's always a proud night to see whether it's Cedars Meats or whoever else acknowledged on those nights. So it is now for me to present the Young Business Entrepreneur Award to Jawad Abu Zaid, I should say.
Thank you so much
Well
for
done.
that.
Congratulations.
I wasn't expecting this at all. Thank you.
That's great. You would like to say something?
Thank you very much for this. I wasn't really expecting anything at all tonight. My mission, I feel like my mission's halfway done, so that's why I didn't expect. I'm really actually nervous. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Now, we do have some young entrepreneurs walking around with credit card machines tonight, and they are offering a registration annual membership tonight only for $150. So if anybody's interested, just put your hand up and one of the young entrepreneurs will come along and sign you up for the next 12 months. Now, I'd also, it's actually my pleasure to introduce the Consul General of Lebanon to Victoria, Mr. Ghassan El-Khatib. If Mr. Ghassan El-Khatib could please come up to the stage to present the Business Innovative Award. Lovely to meet you. Now, Mr. El-Khatib will be presenting the Business Innovative Award to Tony Jaja and Ben Howard. And Tony Jaja is not available this evening, so on his behalf, the award will be accepted by Dominic Garfey. Thank you.
very quickly, because I know no one at a dinner wants to hear anyone speak, I would love to thank Mr. Fadi Zouki for the opportunity this year that I went to go to Lebanon. I met so many wonderful people and was deeply touched and changed a perspective of the business opportunities. As an entrepreneur in this country, we don't only owe it to ourselves, but to other people to look abroad at what we can not only do in Australia, but in other countries. Thank you so much to the Chamber for the opportunity you've had. Everyone, have a great night.
Dominic? Thank you. Did you want to say something on behalf of...
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much to the Chamber, to Fadi Zouki. Tony extends his apologies. He's currently extending his trade mission in Lebanon at the moment, so he thanks you all very much, and I'll accept it graciously on his behalf.
Thank you, Mr. El-Khatib. Thank you. I'd like to invite our next speaker, Miss Betty Hindi. Miss Hindi will be presenting the award to Fadi Zouki, and in exchange, Fadi Zouki will be giving an award to Betty Hindi. But before that, I would like to just give you just a bit of information, a bit of a rundown on Betty Hindi. She is the founder and an honorary guest tonight, a founder of the World House of Lebanon and the consultant for the development and advancement for the command of Lebanese Armed Forces, General Jean Kawaji. And that's a pretty amazing position, and we are absolutely honoured to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, dear distinguished friends. 2 years ago, I stood at this same place, but completely for different reasons. World House of Lebanon, which I have the honor of representing then and today, has been carrying the concerns of the Lebanese diaspora since long. I was here to talk about the right to involve all the Lebanese in the elections. We have won a round, and the remaining is yet to come. We were able, as an association, to prove this right by law. The implementation and practice remain ahead of us. I have always believed that change starts here. This is why here I am today, even more confident of this truth. Our battles goes on. We count on your support to go on pressuring on the government, the parliament, and all the political class to work on consecrating the practical mechanism of participation in the 2017 elections, and the best way for that is the electronic registration. But today, problems have increased. What election we are talking about? Unfortunately, today, parliamentary or presidential elections may take place while the country is going through a dire situation and is facing great threats with the region ragging around it. Corruption is eating up all our institutions and is about to transform us into a rogue state. Thus, from an injured, suffering Lebanon to Australia, 1,000 greetings. From a Lebanon with a vulnerable to vacancy institutions and crippled economy, from the land that has been hanging on crucifix for more than 30 years, a cry of help. Lebanon faces many regional challenges. The region is boiling, and expectations of rebounds on Lebanon are worse than what is witnessed in 1975. Our Lebanon is fighting against terrorism and internal tensions. Our resistance holds on only thanks to the Lebanese army, its effort and sacrifices that are priceless. Thanks to the Army Commander General Jean Ahwaji, who I salute. At this occasion, for his wisdom, his know-how, and his professionalism, he has laid the foundation of a successful equation, which is that of a Lebanese army for everybody and not a specific group. The Lebanese army has reconciled all sides and set a transconfessional military institutions that is the guarantor of Lebanon and its population, impartial and strong against all odds. It's not a secret that the army commander has laid the main pillar for that, an institution based on common living along with a strategy entitled The Army Beyond All Consideration and Far from Any Political Problems. It is difficult not to be biased to a person who fought terrorism and protected Lebanon from conflict eating up the region. I might not be the right to pay tribute to him and to the army, but one day history will unveil all its secrets and reveal the heroic deeds of the army and its commander, to whom we send 1,000 greetings. Allow me now a word that I hold on behalf of General Ahwaji to the Australian diaspora. All my greeting and esteem of your great work in favor of Lebanon in the diaspora, and namely in Australia. I strongly believe in the complementary between the army and the diaspora. Lebanese immigrants are undeclared army of Lebanon. They have always been there to answer the call in politics, economics, and all other fields. And I grasp the opportunity of the above word to convey to you from Lebanon, the motherland, to its sons and daughters in Australia, their second nation, a warm embrace. Between Lebanon and Australia only exists in maps, while in the heart, distance has no meaning. Every Lebanese who comes here feels himself at home amongst his people and in his society. Thus, a more than deserved thanks of the Australian people, who warmly hosted the people of Lebanon and overwhelmed them with their kindness and hospitality. And many thanks for the honor you have paid me, such a touching gesture. I hope to live it up to. Anyway, this is not new to Mr. Fadi Zouki, whose success speaks about him and who always endeavors to build a real and true link with Lebanon. Fadi, you haven't known the commander since long, but he knows much about your achievements. Thus, from the commander of the army, I carry with me a tribute for your non-military achievements in favor of Lebanon. Lebanon will remain as long as people like Fadi Zouki believe in it, especially after the military institution has announced a new project to fight terrorism, the military and non-military means. Before I close, allow me to remind you of the following. Everybody comes to you making promises, asking for help. Today, I understand more than ever why they didn't want your votes in the ballots. They know that your vote is more important and than any pretty calculation. They know that you will vote for the state, for the security, for safety, for economy, for the culture of freedom and the human right. Your vote, your voice is ours, that of moderation, a vote that is only biased to the state. This is why they fear you and they want to prohibit you. Do not fear. Together we are strong and will be able to succeed. Each one of us expressed his love to Lebanon his own way, but I hope that the blood of our martyrs did not go in vain, and the current situation will take us forward and not backward. Finally, I would like to thank from my bottom of my heart the organizer of this annual meeting, the Lebanese Australian Chamber of Commerce, represented by Mr. Fadi Zouki. My warmest thanks to the entire institution for this honor. Allow me to announce in front of you that I dedicate this gesture with all that it represents to the commander of the Lebanese army, General Jean Ahwaji. Long live you, long live the Lebanese army, long live Lebanon.
I say it and I say it again. Betty, you are a woman of substance. You have been the voice of the diaspora around the world, and now you are the voice of our national security in Lebanon. God bless you. That's for you.
Mr. Zuki, I invite you to the stage to invite Mr. Lahoud. Lahoud. Thank you.
Come on, please. Lahoud, you are the silent soldier. You always worked endlessly, especially you brought the president to Lebanon and made sure he had a successful trip in Australia. You were the man behind it. So we want to commend you on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. Can I call on Kevork, please? Kevork Echekarian. A unique artist. You see his work at the front of the reception. Is an amazing man, and we also recognize his great work and contribution. So, Kevork, on behalf of the Chamber, welcome from Lebanon, and well done. Keep up your great work. Okay, and can I call also on Mr. Ziad Hawat, the Lord Mayor of Jubail? Ziad, you made Jubail a shining star, especially during Christmas. And so congratulations on behalf of the Chamber as well.
I would like first to thank Mr. Zuki and all you are inviting to stay amazing time in Lebanon. Lebanon, it's a very beautiful country. Lebanon need your support. Lebanon need your help. Together, we are very strong. So waiting for you very soon in Lebanon. Thank you.
Can I invite Mr. Bruno Moscow from the Commonwealth Bank to come up, please? Bruno has been serving the Lebanese community for a while, especially including our family, has been a veteran in banking and finance. So the Chamber wants to honor you, and we see you also supporting the Chamber of Commerce for many years. So we thank you, Bruno.
Well done. Congratulations to everybody who received an acknowledgement and award. Fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed your meal. We're going to have a short break, and it will give everybody an opportunity to have a chat, because I can see that you've all been captivated by what's happening on stage. So just 10-minute break, give you an opportunity to have a chat to the people at your table, and we will be back to introduce you to the fashion parade. Thanks.
Take a 5 minutes.